Hello, world of the internet, and welcome to not only a delayed podcast from yesterday, but even a delayed podcast from today that was meant to go live 44 minutes ago. This week is not treating Simon Miller very kindly in terms of things that keep coming out of nowhere, or public transport breaking, or many attributes like that, but let's not worry about it. Such as life, we have to roll with these punches, we have to deal with it, we have to power on through to the other side. But welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining me. If you're live on YouTube, it's lovely to see you in the comments. If you're listening on podcast, thank you very much for listening to me that way too. What else can I say? I appreciate it. We're doing it on Friday today. In case somebody hasn't clocked and thought this went live on Thursday, it didn't. We are 24 hours delayed. Otherwise, you know the deal. Shout out to Pins and Knuckles and pinsandknucklesmerch.com for supporting Simon Miller's Pro Wrestling Show. Come follow me on Instagram and Twitter at SimonMiller316. If you do want to say anything, if you've got a question, you've got anything you want to throw into the mix, please do use the super chat. Good way to support the show as well. And you can also support the show at patreon.com/SimonMiller316. There is a link in the description below should you be live on YouTube. And also thank you to everybody that did come aboard the Patreon this week. Like I say, if one day it dies, the podcast will die as well, because I have to go out there and find ways to get money. Because unfortunately, that's how it works, right? You have to do things, you need money. Money sucks. We should all be communists. I don't mean that. So, obviously, we are going to be talking about AEW Dynamite on the boat. But I'm like, that was so long ago now. There's no point making that the focus of the show. I missed the opportunity. But hey, that's life, as I say. So I thought the most interesting thing happening in the next few days is the Royal Rumble 2020. Now, I'm going to tell you to keep an eye on What Culture Wrestling and make sure you subscribe to those guys too. I'm very proud of my predictions video that will go live today or tomorrow. Come up with some pretty damn, I want to say good, some pretty damn ridiculous scenarios for the Royal Rumble. One of which just came to me as I was filming it. And I was like, well, that would make sense. They should do that. I don't think they're going to. Just to give you some headlines about some of the rumors going around. Do I think Paige is going to be in the Rumble? No. Do I think CM Punk is going to be in the Rumble? No. Do I think Edge is going to be in the Rumble? Maybe. I lean more towards unlikely, but maybe, because sometimes there's no smoke without fire. And do I think Roman Reigns is going to win? Yes, I do. Now, I'm not saying I want Roman Reigns to win. Hilariously, as soon as this video went up, it already got one dislike because somebody just sees the title and they're like, how dare Roman Reigns win the Royal Rumble? Because, of course, we all remember what happened in 2015 with Philadelphia and The Rock and The Big Show and Rusev and Kane. And look, if you listen to the ton of podcasts that Conrad Thompson does, he has an Arn Anderson one. Even Arn Anderson said he would have had Daniel Bryan win that Royal Rumble and he would have turned Roman Reigns heel. Rhetoric's I'm kind of bored of that rhetoric now, not because he said it, just because that conversation's been had 1,000 times. I don't really care if Roman Reigns turns heel, or he's a good guy or bad guy. I'm just looking at WWE. I'm just looking at the way that things have been shaping up over the last few weeks. And I've kind of learned that sometimes, if it seems really obvious, that's what WWE will do. Like my tipping point with this was, I think it was the Money in the Bank 2 years ago, I believe. I get confused with dates because so much happens. But Braun Strowman seemed so likely to win Money in the Bank because WWE were behind him and they were giving him a big push. But that's why when I tried to be clever, I tried to outthink WWE. And I was like, I don't think that's going to happen. I think they'll go in a different direction. And let's see if we can find it, actually. Because I bet if I can find it, I will remember who I chose. Was Daniel Bryan in it? No, Daniel Bryan wasn't back by then. Am I even right? I could even be wrong. Too much happens in the world of wrestling to actually try and keep up with your brain. Yeah, it was 2015. So it was Braun Strowman, and he defeated Bobby Roode, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Kofi Kingston, Rusev, Samoa Joe, and The Miz. Well, I bet everything that I would have said Samoa Joe, Kevin Owens, or Finn Balor, because I know what I'm like. But he won, and I was like, of course he won. Why did I even think that he wouldn't have won? And that's why when I look at, like I say, the last few weeks of SmackDown, and Roman Reigns has kind of become the superhero again. It's not even like his program with Baron Corbin. Ever since the dog food incident, Baron Corbin hasn't got one up over Roman Reigns at all. Like, even on this last week, you thought, Baron Corbin's going to get to choose a stipulation. Nope. Roman Reigns chose the stipulation. So there's every chance at the Royal Rumble in their match that Baron Corbin may win if they want to extend it, because they still have to get through February. But the only reason they're going to have Roman Reigns lose is because, again, they know he's going to win the Royal Rumble, so it doesn't matter. An hour later, he's going to be winning the biggest thing of the year. And I also think, the only other candidates that I can come up with are I can see Brock Lesnar going all the way because I think that's interesting. I know it would annoy some people, but I think there's something to it, and it's different. You know, if someone like Edge came back and won it, yes, I would get that too. And then people keep saying Drew McIntyre, but we're always opting for people like Drew McIntyre. We're always saying, oh, now's the time. And they don't really ever pull the trigger of someone in the Royal Rumble. Like, you usually know beforehand. The only two surprises, I think for me, are Sheamus in 2013, was it, or whenever, and Alberto Del Rio in 2011. I didn't think that was going to be on the cards. But I could be wrong, and I think it all depends. It all depends on the Rumble itself, because so many people go, oh, not Roman Reigns. But let's say Edge does come back, and let's say, I don't know, Cain Velasquez fights with Brock, and there's some other surprises. I think really it depends how we get there. And I would much rather, if WWE does intend to give Roman the big push again, just do it. Like, none of this half in, half out. Just do it. It's your company. Give it a go. It may turn out to be great. The story may be so good and the booking may be so good, it could be the turning point for Roman and everybody's on board. I don't mind Roman Reigns winning the Rumble. I just think it's a little obvious. But sometimes the obvious thing isn't necessarily the worst thing. So I'm putting all my money under that. I have some incredible theories for Edge, The Undertaker, and Becky Lynch. But I'm going to save those and tell you to watch the prediction show over on What Culture, because I do a much better job in explaining it there than I would here anyway. Shout out to Geeked Out Nation, the Super Chat. And again, if you want to support the podcast, or you want to call me a bald asshole, or you got a question, whatever, throw it in the Super Chat. What are your thoughts on Adam Page's alcohol story? Do you mean his heel turn? I've never heard it described as his alcohol story, unless I've missed something else. As we said on the show the other day, I think it's great. I think it's a real feather in AEW's cap in terms of backing long-term storytelling, depth, character. There was dramatic irony on Dynamite this week. You know, we know that Hangman Page is drastically unhappy, more so than the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. And that's a real solid technique to use in the world of dramatization. So the fact they're doing it is awesome. And he's far more interesting now than he was. You know, I remember when he was fighting for the title against Jericho, I was like, oh, Adam Page can't win. Well, who cares about that? You know, now he's probably the second or third. It depends how you look at it. I mean, for me, the stuff I'm most interested in each week is Cody. I'd say number 2 is Hangman Page. Yeah, I want to see what Cody's going to do, and I want to see how AEW is going to treat Hangman. So I think it's great, and I think there's a video going up on What Culture about this as well. But I truly think, and there's no right or wrong here before everyone goes nuts. You can look at, really, NXT is your sports competition in wrestling. Everybody wanted a more sports feel, because most feuds there'll be personal differences, but most feuds there are based on I am better than you in the ring, and I'm going to prove that to you by having this incredible match at a takeover. You know, stories don't really go out of their comfort zone too much, whereas as we've seen on Dynamite, they absolutely are happy to do that. And I'm glad that I want those shows to continue on those two paths. I don't want them to be carbon copies of each other. That's the best thing about Wednesday nights. You can get your AEW, you can get your NXT. They don't feel the same. Everybody's portrayed differently. They feel different. Absolutely, that's what I want. Dan Lemley in the Super Chat says, the biggest surprise will be Big Show turning for the 375th millionth time. Is he even in the Rumble? We don't even know if he's in it. The thing is now, we've gone past the point of no return. It doesn't even matter what he does, right? He can turn, he can not turn, him a goodbye bad guy. You'll never truly invest in it because it's happened too many times, and that's what your brain does. Maybe the Big Show is in it. I can't remember. It'd be a bit weird if he got written off TV and then he pops back in the Royal Rumble. He probably will, right, to get his revenge. That's a classic storyline technique for the Rumble there. Yeah, I think he has been announced now I think about it. Maybe he does turn. Maybe he punches Kevin Owens right in the face. Ultra Clorox Bleach. Amazing name in the Super Chat. Thank you for your support. Hey, dude. Hope you're having a great day. What's your thought on who will be the number 2 entrant? My guess is Kane. Much love. Keep up the great content. Thank you, man. Well, all right, I'll let you in on my video, but make sure you watch it too. My 2 scenarios are, and these are fantasy booking, right? I don't necessarily deep down think this is going to happen. But number 2 is The Undertaker, right? Undertaker comes out. Those two brawl. They both somehow tipple over the top rope. And then you have the rematch at WrestleMania 36. Undertaker wins the belt and he retires. Beautiful. Everybody's happy. Belt can go up for grabs. Makes it quite interesting. I don't think it's actually going to happen. I just like the idea. Second one is, yes, I think Cain Velasquez does that, maybe. Comes in seconds. Those two fight. Brock's out of there. Doesn't like to work long, as we know. And that does introduce a kind of cool element to the Rumble, because whoever is number 3 is now kind of number 1. And if number 3 is a really big name or someone you've got, like Drew McIntyre or someone, I actually think that could do a good job. So the one prediction I will double down on, which is not also true because there's other predictions out there where I think Brock will make it all the way to the Final 4. But yeah, maybe we get to a point where 1 and 2 are out there within seconds. And I do like they'll be different. It would get people talking. It would get a reaction. And with something that's been going on since 1988, I think it's important you should do that. Ian Cage in the Super Chat says Kevin Owens should win, but I think Brock will win, lol. I don't think Kevin Owens is going to win. I don't think Samoa Joe's going to win. I don't think Seth Rollins is going to win. I don't think the Authors of Pain are going to win because they've got a ready-made feud coming out the back of WrestleMania, Royal Rumble. So I think the WWE are like, we don't need to worry about that. I don't mind Brock winning. I've said that already. I'll say it again. I don't mind Brock winning because if the story is right, it will be quite a fascinating watch. And those last sort of 4 or 5 minutes, you go, no, no, no. And again, it will get the internet people going crazy. But that's not the worst thing in the world. Look, I guess keep saying, as long as the story is good, and as long as WWE commits to that story, I don't really have a problem with it. You're not going to like every single story in the world. Like if you watch a soap opera, you're not going to like every single story. But I appreciate the attempt at a story. And I believe a few months ago, we weren't even getting that. Everything felt very slapdash and random. Now we're getting angles, and now we're getting arcs. And yeah, you can't expect to please everyone. It's impossible. So if you want to do Brock going in all the way, hell yeah. Jeffrey W. in the Super Chat says, I've got to go ahead from my booker to come to Darwin, Australia. Wrestle me if you want. I'll pay your match fee. Spend time. If not, search Pro Wrestling Darwin, Top End Hostility on YouTube. Watch me. How do I get to Australia, though, my friend? I do massively appreciate that. I mean, that's a lot of money. And without wanting to get too much into my financial situation, not 100% sure I could afford it like that, but I do appreciate it. Why do you mean you go ahead from your booker to go to Darwin, Australia? What's happening in Darwin, Australia? You'll have to let me know. But if we can work something out, am I ever going to turn down an abroad booking? No, but I also don't have the finances to fund trips. But I do appreciate it, and I appreciate your dreams, and one day I think we can make this happen. John the Gin is in a super chat, and he's saying fantasy booking that won't happen. Becky, where did that go? That just vanished then. Thanks, YouTube, you piece of crap. Becky loses the title, wins the Rumble, challenges for, and finally wins the NXT title. I think if you're going to do that, it's more interesting if Becky loses the title, wins the Rumble, then goes back after her Raw title and beats Asuka at WrestleMania 36. I think that's more interesting. I don't think WWE would... The thing is, if you put Becky Lynch down NXT, you're just going to overshadow all the other women there. And I think that's the last thing you want to do. And you're also going to leave this gaping hole on Raw. And also, if she loses again to Asuka, you can't not tell... That story has to end with Becky Lynch winning that belt. Otherwise, you haven't told a good story. You haven't given the conclusion that it needs. You've got to have the Hollywood ending. No, it's great for NXT, and you're right. It would absolutely bolster Wednesday nights, and you'd probably get that rating up. I just don't know if long-term it makes sense. But I like it. From a fantasy booking point of view, like you said, it probably won't happen. Who knows, right? Zucchini Squash in Super Chat says, Hangman Page is the one behind the Dark Order. It's not water. I mean, you could do that. I think it all depends if Matt Hardy jumps ship. If Matt Hardy is going to jump ship, make him the leader of the Dark Order. Because I think Hangman Page is more interesting by himself, a bit of a loner. Like the Cowboy Loner is such a classic character. But sure, if Matt Hardy is going to re-up with WWE or he doesn't want to do that, you could make Hangman Page the leader of the Dark Order. It makes perfect sense. It ties into the videos. It ties into the vignettes. It puts him as a main character on that show. It would absolutely rehab the Dark Order in the sense he is considered a big star within that organization, which is what it needs to be considered legit. So yeah, why the hell not? AJ Parker in Super Chat says, Simon, should we have a Miller Entourage Royal Rumble? Only 4 entrants, but it could be fun. I don't know what that is. A Miller Entourage Royal Rumble with 4 entrants. I love it, but I don't know what that means. But thank you. Did you get my tweet about SmackDown tonight about Reigns versus Torley Baldy in a loser eats dog food match? No, I didn't. Sorry, dude. My social media engagement has been low recently because I've just been running around trying to put out fires. But it doesn't really matter they're doing that on the house shows. Unless they are actually going to do the dog food match in February, which is why they're not doing it at the Royal Rumble because Baron Corbin's going to win. I'm two worlds, right? If they don't do it, doesn't matter what they do at house shows. House shows aren't on TV, so, it's fun for what it is. And let's say they do it on television. At least, again, it makes sense for the narrative. Dog food has been an imperial part of all of this, and it ends with Baron Corbin having to eat some dog food. And Roman Reigns will pour it all over him, and that makes up for Baron Corbin doing the same to Roman Reigns. Again, do I necessarily enjoy that from how I like to watch my wrestling? No. But can I get on board with it to a certain extent? Because, again, I can see it and understand it. Yes. That's the key. If we had just gone, here's a dog food match, I'd be like, that's the stupidest thing ever. And I don't like the guy coming out dressed as a dog and all of that. But at least the pieces of the puzzle are there. And I think sometimes it's important to give him a little bit of credit. Philly Flex in the Super Chat says, do you think Asuka could beat Becky setting up her versus Charlotte at Mania so Asuka could get her win back? No, I think if Asuka does win, it sets up the third match between Becky and Asuka. You can't have this story about Becky Lynch being desperate to beat Asuka. She loses and then you go off in a different direction. That's bad. See, that's bad storytelling. Because then you're like, wait, what? You could probably do the Charlotte match at another time, but they can't, not at the extent of Becky Lynch has to have her, what's the word? I can't even think what the right word would be, but she has to have her moment, I guess. And that only works if she gets it back. And you got to do it at WrestleMania. But it's not going to happen anyway. Becky Lynch, I think, is 98.2% sure to win that match. I think WWE has pretty much got it set in stone. Sean Gihorn in the Super Chat says, do you think Baszler's promo saying she isn't going anywhere and wants to be the first 3 times NXT champion is a work? She seems to be odds on to win the Women's Rumble, or does she win and challenge Ripley instead? Could do. I don't think she wins unless they're doing Becky versus Shayna at WrestleMania. This sounds really horrible to NXT. I just can't see Vince McMahon booking an NXT person to win. But again, I could be wrong. Maybe this whole AEW deal has irked him more than I realized, and he's going to go out of his way to do it. I mean, my pick for the women's, I think Charlotte Flair, much for the same reason as Roman Reigns could win it. Again, sometimes WWE sticks to their ideas. If Becky Lynch retains, yes, I can see Shayna Baszler winning. So you build to Baszler versus Becky Lynch at WrestleMania, which is quite good. There's these rumors that Ronda Rousey could come back. Again, I would say it's not going to happen. If they do, she absolutely has to win. Out of that, I can't see. I mean, Nia Jax, I think, will make a surprise return, but I don't think she'll win. Although you could set up Bayley versus Nia Jax, but does anybody want that match? But if Shayna Baszler wins, I think it has to be for a Becky Lynch clash. Just my opinion, because we have set that up in November. But look, yeah, maybe they will. They did with Survivor Series, right? Maybe they will make it super NXT heavy. And I don't think the current audience would mind that much. Ultra Clorox Bleach to the Super Chat says, apologies for missing the video. Uni got me busy. That's all right, dude. Studies are more important than some bald guy ranting on the internet. Way more important. You'll actually learn something there. Alex D in the Super Chat says, Simon, let's ask the real question. What number do you think Repo Man is coming out of the Royal Rumble? Hope your Friday is good, man. It's a little bit stressful. I'm not going to lie, but it is good. I hope yours is too. Unfortunately, Barry Darsow, who played Repo Man, is on the outs with WWE because he was a part of that concussion lawsuit. So I do not think he's going to be a surprise entrant in this year's Royal Rumble. But you never know. You never say never. Maybe they come to some kind of deal and I don't know. I do know that if Repo Man comes out at any number, I will lose my shit. I mean, my internet, my Twitter will go nuts as well, which will make me the happiest man ever. I just worry that it's never going to happen. But I tell you, do I want it to happen? You damn right I do. Everybody thinks it's a joke. No, I love Repo Man. Repo Man to me sums up wonderfully what professional wrestling is. He is a guy that repossesses stuff because you haven't paid. He's just doing his job, but he was booked as a bad guy. It's perfect. It's like IRS. IRS would come to the ring and go, pay your taxes. Boo. You have to pay your taxes. It's nothing heelish about him. Loved it. Raghaven N in the Super Chat says, NXT have a stacked women's roster compared to Raw and SmackDown. Could we see the Women's Rumble from NXT this time around? Well, everyone's asking that. I don't think so, no. But again, it all depends how annoyed Vince McMahon is that AEW is doing really well on Wednesday nights and running away with it, and you know how much he wants to try and combat that. I just think for me, from a casual point of view, you're going to want to. Well, I guess you could look at it both ways. Yes, you want to lean on your biggest audience, but maybe a good way to try and get them to watch NXT is by having that person win the Rumble. So you could look at it either ways. If someone, again, put a gun to my head, I think Charlotte Flair wins. It's the obvious choice. And sometimes, well, most of the time, WWE does that. But I'm happy to be proven wrong. I don't care. But you're going to, well, stupid if you're wrong, Simon. Not really. I'm just guessing wrestling. What difference does it make? A non-WWE guy in Super Chat says, what does Kenny do after the split with Hangman? He feuds with Hangman. Simple as that. You feud with Hangman, you get that done and done. Then there's a ready-made feud with Pac. Maybe Hangman Page aligns himself with Pac and Kenny Omega gets a Cody or a Young Buck or something. And you do that tag team matches. This is the cool thing about AEW at the moment. There's a lot of depth there. A lot of depth that you can go off in these different directions. Like the fact that Kenny Omega was able to mention in his promo after winning the tag belts, and that opening match was fire, by the way, Pac, don't worry about it. You're on my list, but right now the tag title is what's important to me, so on and so on. Then you had more nuance when Hangman looked at the Young Bucks later on, and he was like, oh, it's interesting that, I won this before you. Like, but Schneid, a little bit of a gut punch. It's really well done at the moment. It is. And also even the things that I was a bit like, I wouldn't have done it that way. It doesn't affect the product at all. I thought this week's Dynamite was excellent. I really, really, really did. I thought the opening match was good. Everyone told me they hated the Britt Baker promo. I thought it was awesome. What great heel promo. Tony Schiavone, you were a shit barrister at Starbucks. That's the way you get heat. I do not know why anybody had a problem with that. If you're turning Britt Baker heel, that's a different question. Should we be turning her heel? But right now, I think it's working. So why everyone moaned about that, I was really surprised. People got so... I liked it. I thought it was really, really funny. I liked everything with MJF and Cody. I didn't like how they jobbed out Joey Janela just because I thought that Kip Sabian could have actually done something physical to him, because it's like the Rusev Lana stuff. Why do you care about your ex-girlfriend? There's no need to care unless that's part of the narrative, and I don't believe that it is. But look, it's still good. Pac versus Moxley was awesome. Great match. Those two absolutely rock. Chris Jericho is having the time of his life. That 6-man, how could you not enjoy it? Marco Stunt going crazy and all of it. It's just great. It was just a really, really easy to watch show. I have no problems with it whatsoever. I think one thing you could say in hindsight is that SCU's tag reign didn't light the place on fire, but it served a job. First ever title change in AEW history. So write it down, 22nd of January 2020, Omega Page and SCU. I liked it, and I get called a shill, and I get called biased. People forget that I also said that Raw was great, but it doesn't matter. I think, especially with the setting of the boat, once a year, AEW absolutely has to be on a boat because it just feels different. It looks different. It feels fun. All the wind, there are obviously cons to that as well, but it's only one-off. It was every week you get a bit bored of all that. It's just such a good idea. And when you are watching Raw and SmackDown every week, and the Raw and SmackDown sets I still think are incredible. I think we take them for granted sometimes. But when you do see the same thing each and every week, again, you don't look at those because you're used to it. It's become commonplace. It's literal screen furniture. So all of a sudden you're on this tiny boat with all these people going nuts. It's fun. Your brain likes it. It appreciates the change. AJ Parker in the Super Chat says, Simon, the results are in. Becky Lynch enters in number 4 in the Simon Entourage Raw Rumble and defeats Nikki Crocs. Tolkien and Super Chat to win the first ever Simon Entourage Raw Rumble. Can't wait until we do it again next year. Hell yeah, AJ. I had a good time as well. I like this. It's basically all the times I can't talk on the internet. I know on this week's Dynamite, I called her Priscilla. I think I called Priscilla Kelly Priscilla Presley. Now, Kelly and Presley are quite close when you are ranting and raving. But why anybody has to get a bee in their bonnet about that, I don't know. I don't think Elvis's ex-wife is a wrestler. And if you think that, you're crazy. Get in the Simon Entourage Battle Royal. I appreciate AJ Parker. Who won? Becky Lynch. Of course Becky Lynch won. What about Napkin? We should get her in there as well. Damn Lemony in Super Chat says, Barry Darso with Axe will be in my area in March. I'll get a Repo Man autograph for you. No, get it for you, damn. I appreciate that. I really, really do. And I would frame it and I would love it. But no. Get it for you, my friend. Get it, frame it, love it, keep it. Don't let anybody touch it. Have alarms around it. Repo Man is the best character ever. And don't believe all these people that got Brian Alvarez saying worst character ever. I love Brian Alvarez. Love what he does. He's really good. But he's wrong. Repo Man is the man. Geeked Out Nation, the Super Chat says, how would you fix the AEW's women division? Well, I think they're already doing it. Just need less randomness. It just needs to be less random. Like we had that match between Britt Baker and Priscilla Kelly. I can't even remember what we had last week. It was the Nightmare Collective match. That's what I mean. The cool things about AEW are the narrative threads that run week to week. So I'm excited about Hangman. I'm excited about Cody, MJF, what's going to go on with the tag titles. But you just get random women matches. And I understand it's because they're trying to establish their women's roster. But I just think we need to get away from this idea that this is the women's segment. I think Becky Lynch talked about this on Backstage the other day, and she's right. I've said it before on Ups and Downs videos. Sometimes we go, now it's time for the women. No, now it's time for the wrestlers. What story do we need to get over? What story are we telling? Oh, we need to tell this Asuka Becky Lynch story. Put it out there. Oh, we need to tell this Charlotte Sterling Logan story and get it out there. It shouldn't be 8 to 20 past 8 is when it features the women. Like they're some kind of performing monkeys. They're not. They're wrestlers. So that doesn't mean everybody should be on the show every week. No, of course not. But it does mean that just look down your piece of paper and think, what do we have to achieve today? And if some of that happens to feature females, then they get more time than things that don't need to be featured as much. So that's what it does feel a little bit random, a little bit like a segment at the moment. I don't think you need to do that. I don't think it's necessarily intentional either, but I do think we've kind of fallen into that bracket. Geeked Out Nation, the Super Chat says, did you see Marco Stunt talk depression in his interview? No, I didn't, but I can imagine he has gone through some stuff like that because given his stature, I can only guess he has had some very disparaging remarks thrown at him. I was lucky enough to interview him at All In 2018, which is terrifying, almost 2 years ago. Well, a year and a half ago. He was a nice dude, really passionate. I honestly thought that his size was a benefit, because I think in wrestling, when you look completely different, you're going to get people talking about you. Obviously, it means you have to put up with the hate. I think he'll do really well. I think he's sympathetic. People go, doesn't look like he could win a fight. Don't care. If I want to watch real fights, I watch real fights. It doesn't mean that I don't want every now and then to be presented with something that is a real fight in the world of pro wrestling. But should that then oust Marco Stunt forever? I hope not. Because what kind of the world are we living in? It's just wrestling at the end of the day. If you get such a bee in your bonnet about that, I think the problem may be internal. just my personal opinion. Like, he's really, really talented. He's really athletic. He does great moves. He gets cheered. Put him in the ring. If it doesn't work, that's different. If it's really bombing, then you get to talk about it. But he deserves an opportunity. He deserves a chance, whether he's 2'2" or 7'6". What different? Again, if you're going to argue it that way, okay, why didn't the great Khali just beat everyone? He's 7'2" or whatever. He's massive. Stupid. I hate all of that. I really, really do. Let people live their dreams, damn it. Sean Gearhorn Super Chat says, I'm happy and sad Keith Lee won the North American title. I'm glad that he did, but I really wanted him to have a huge showing in the Rumble and get called to the main roster with such a muddled, mixed card on NXT. I still think he's going to have a massive Royal Rumble push. Vince McMahon likes him a lot. I think it's probably one of the reasons he won the United States Championship. I think he's going to be in the Final Four of the Rumble. I think he's going to eliminate someone huge, and I think the idea is going to be that people see him, go, this guy rocks, then find out he's also a champion, which doubles down on how good he is, and hopefully gets people to watch NXT. I think that's the idea. And if he's lost in the mid-card there, think of what he's going to be on, Raw and SmackDown. Bobby Roode, Dolph Ziggler, Mojo Rawley, Apollo Crews, wherever the hell he is. So, I think he's in a good spot, and I do think he'll be in the Final Four of the Royal Rumble. If I had to call my Final Four from a logical, or what I think is going to happen point of view, Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, Keith Lee, Seth Rollins. They would be my four. Potentially Edge. But basically, if Edge can't... Watch my What Culture video, go to the predictions one. But the headline is, I think if you bring Edge back and you don't want him to win, he can feud with Seth Rollins, who tried to break his neck years ago, and you can do Edge versus Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 36 as a marquee match, and it doesn't matter that Edge didn't win the Rumble. But again, more on that video. Nick C in the Super Chat says, have a great wrestling weekend, Simon. I am excited. And you, Nick, thank you very much. Yes, we have the Rumble on Sunday. There's a UFC pay-per-view, or at least a card on Saturday night. We also have Worlds Collide and a SmackDown later on too. So you have a show a day, should you so wish. And we will do ups and downs for Worlds Collide, and we'll do ups and downs for... what do you call it? The Royal Rumble and everything. You know the deal. You know the deal. Shout out to Lanaya in the Super Chat. No question. Just saying hello and thank you for your videos. Well, you're very welcome, Lanaya. Thank you for supporting and always being nice and being the driving force behind the mental health videos coming back. If you want to thank anyone, you thank Lanaya, because she always says very nice words about them and she encouraged me to get back into it. So shout out to Lanaya. I was annoyed because I think Lanaya commented on one of those mental health videos first, and someone went, no one cared. And I was like, I care, Lanaya. I care a lot. Screw that person. So, that guy was a dick. He got blocked. Well quick. I didn't appreciate that. So thank you to you as well. I appreciate it. It's good to see you. Alex D in the Super Chat says, how long before we see an AEW mid-card title? Do they need one? What would they call it? Yes, they need one. Just to give people in the mid-card a focus. Stories. You need stories, but I think you need the overarching focus of a championship. It just helps and it makes the show more interesting. I don't know what you call it. I don't know what you call. I'd go with Intercontinental title. That's always been my favorite one, but maybe because New Japan and WWE has it, you want to stay away. North American works. US is good. Don't mind a TV title, although obviously the reason the TV title was introduced, you could do a TV title in AEW though, because they only have 4 pay-per-views a year. And the whole point of the television title was it only got, it got defended on TV because you never saw the World Championship get defended on television because that was saved for pay-per-views. So you could do that. I think there's anything. You could just call it, I don't know. I can't even think of anything stupid. I think we'll get one. I think we'll get one in a few months as well, would be my guess. AJ Park in the Super Chat says, no worries about the Simon entrance thingy. I got Napkin and Priscilla Presley for next year. Yeah, Priscilla Presley will be there, no question. No matter who wins Sunday, I just hope we get good storylines going forward. Blessings to you and yours, my friend. And you, AJ. You're very supportive of everything I do. And I like it. I like we have this rapport, right? We've got personal jokes. What a world we live in. Yes, I agree with you. I have the people I want to win the Royal Rumble. Like, do I want Roman Reigns to win the Royal Rumble from a personal point of view? No, not really. But if he does, and there's a cool story out the back, and there's a cool story going into it, that's what I watch it for. Like, when I watch a movie, do I want character X to do this? No, but they do. And I'm like, okay, well, let's see where it goes. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. The key is the setup, and WWE's done a lot better job at setting up recently. Raw's a good show. Raw is a good show right now. I mean, I thought this one was... It wasn't... The reason I didn't get a massive kick out of this week's one is just because for a go-home show for the Rumble, I want to be left feverish, and I didn't get that. But it doesn't mean it's bad. It just means like, oh, that's a shame. It's a shame, but that's okay. It's allowed to be a shame when the effort is there. The Bill in the Super Chat. Hope you're doing great, and you, my friend. Have you seen David Benoit's interview yet? He seems like a great guy. Have a great weekend, by the way, enjoying the workout diet videos. Thanks, man. I'm going to try and get one done today. It's going to be a push because... everything's gone wrong, but I'll do my best. I did watch David Benoit interview with my man Chris Van Vliet. Shout out to Chris Van Vliet. Go check out his channel. Subscribe. You'll love it. You can't not. I did. I think it's so hard because you see a guy who obviously has been incredibly scarred by it scarred wrestling fans. So imagine you were, the son of Chris Benoit. But he did seem like a great guy. It was a fascinating interview. And I just send him nothing but the best, right? You don't get judged by what your family does. That's not how you do, but that's not how the world should work. He didn't do those things. Only one person did those things. And it was an incredible watch from the simple fact that, and I'm only speculating here, but I can only imagine the difficulty in trying to separate your dad with this person, well, someone that, murdered people. That's the fact. Regardless what comes, there's only so much justification you can do in your own head. When it comes to that, I can't even imagine it. I can only be sympathetic to it. You can only be empathetic towards that if you've been through it. But as always, Chris did a great job. It was a very relaxed, calm, I thought, drawn out conversation. But I mean that as a compliment. And yeah, as always, I just send him all. I send him all the best. Life can throw us some incredible curveballs, and there's few bigger than that. It was 13 years ago this year. How time does fly. But it's not just about the Royal Rumble. We'll move on back onto that. We've got some matches as well. We'll run through them quickly. So you've got Daniel Bryan versus The Fiend in a strap match. Kind of weird with the strap, but I think it probably adds something different. Don't see The Fiend losing anytime soon. I think he'll go all the way to WrestleMania, probably get beaten by Roman Reigns. Bayley versus Lacey Evans. I wouldn't give it to Lacey Evans. Doesn't feel like the right time at all. Although I'm still struggling with that character, as we've talked about in ups and downs. I just need something to care about with her. Her being a mum and in the army, I respect it, but it doesn't make me want her to win wrestling matches. So I'd say Bayley probably wins that. Sasha Banks probably gets involved. Andrade versus Humberto Carrillo. Andrade's got to win. I mean, Humberto's on his way, but Andrade, I think, is a few steps further. I think he actually loses something, especially after he just beat Rey Mysterio in a ladder match. I think you've got to go with Andrade. I think you're going to see the New Day versus Miz and Morrison. Probably Miz and Morrison will win because Morrison's come back. You want to put a title on him. I'm forgetting a match. What am I forgetting? There's another match on that damn show. I'm going to have to look it up. Because I can't remember. And it will annoy me as soon as I see it. Oh, Shorty G versus Sheamus is on it as well. I think Sheamus is going to win, but I hope Sheamus is going to win because we're going to do a program that hopefully builds to WrestleMania and then Shorty G wins because you want to get that over. And of course, Roman Reigns versus King Corbin. That's what I forgot. It depends what they're going to do. I can see them stretching the feud out a bit longer and doing the dog feud match at the February pay-per-view, which Roman Reigns will win. So he loses here, but because he wins the Royal Rumble, it doesn't matter. And then you're into March and you're free to just, unleash Roman Reigns on The Fiend or Brock Lesnar, whichever way he's going to go. I imagine The Fiend. But I still think Roman Reigns will win here. I just feel like they're giving him the Superman push. But I do have this slight, just modicum of doubt that they may actually give it to Baron Corbin, which is why he won. That Roman got to pick the stip as well. And then, Baron's like, one more dog food match. I can see it happening. Not in the known super chat says Bayley versus Baszler because of Survivor Series. Well, no, because you got heel versus heel. I think if Baszler's going to be put in any kind of match at WrestleMania, it'll be against Becky Lynch. You'll play off that feud. Bayley felt like such a third wheel in all of that anyway. I can't see all of a sudden her going up. The rumor is we're going to do Bayley versus Sasha Banks at WrestleMania, which means one of them would have to turn. But I'd be all right for that. I think there's history there. I think those two connect well. I think, again, it's a marquee match. And I think fans would like it. So if we're going to go in that direction, turn Sasha Banks face maybe back. I don't know. I imagine Sasha Banks, then she wins it on the big stage. Her heel run's been not bad, but not as good as her NXT one. It's felt a little bit removed, I feel. Geeked Out Nation, the Super Chat says, I love the mental health videos. Never know who needs to hear and make sure they're not alone. I don't understand angry wrestling fans nowadays. So much fun to watch wrestling. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. No, look, some people enjoy getting mad at wrestling. And if you do, more power to you. Honestly, the only thing I think is off limits, and it's never going to be, people do it anyway, is if somebody likes something, don't go crap on their parade. Just let them like it. It doesn't make a difference to you. Like if you like Drake Maverick, I always use this one. But if you like Drake Maverick pissing his pants and you thought it was hilarious, great. It means WWE entertained you when you sat down to be entertained. Just because Steve, who lives in, I don't know, wherever, on the internet, was atrocious. It's good you found it atrocious, but Bob over here, he really, really liked it. That's the only time I get a little bit like, man, just let people like what they like. It's the biggest problem with the internet. I can't believe you said that. It's just, you're not hurting anybody. Just ignore it. Raghaven in the Super Chat says, Simon, which Royal Rumble is your personal favourite? I love 2004, 5, and 2008. John Cena's entry at 30 in 2008 was a crazy moment looking back. That's one of my favourite Royal Rumble moments ever. Not even because of the surprise, but also because that New York crowd is like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Then remember, oh wait, it's John Cena, we hate him, and start to boo the hell out of him straight away. It takes like 25 seconds before they remember. I love it so much. My favorite is still 1992. We said this recently. I just love the Ric Flair, Bobby Heenan, and Mr. Perfect dynamic. I've said that so many times. Again, like Stone Cold Steve Austin when he tells a story about asking Vince McMahon to give him a microphone on commentary. It's just great. It's the perfect dynamic. And the fact that Flair goes all the way through and wins the world title when he was so hot in World Championship Wrestling beforehand, and the real world champion. So many stories, so many mini arcs going through. It's the booking of it too. It's not just that you have to like. Everybody had a story and everybody had a purpose. Outside of that, I love everyone that Stone Cold Steve Austin won because I was always desperate for Stone Cold Steve Austin to win. I enjoyed it in 1997 with the Final Four. Austin won that one when he wasn't meant to, and Bret Hart actually won. Because again, cool story coming out the back of it. I'd have to go through and watch. I haven't rewatched that many Rumbles. I'm sure 4, 5, and 8 were good. 8 I remember, again, just because of the John Cena thing. When Edge came back, whichever one that was good. Didn't like 2011 with the 40 men. Thought it was too much. Top of my head. I don't mind. Everyone hates the 99 one. I like it because I think McMahon's really funny in it. He cracks me up, that whole storyline. The best record in Royal Rumble, statistically speaking. My man Anthony Taggle T-Dog in Super Chat says, hand on heart to you, my friend. Thank you for being here and thank you for the support as usual. That's it. I don't think there's anything else to say about AEW Dynamite. Like, again, I would have gone into it in more depth if it was... if I hadn't missed yesterday. Just a good show, I thought. And I thought NXT was great. Keith Lee winning the title, I thought was a real feel-good moment. Win for the fans. Ratings was hilarious because NXT was up 69,000 and AEW was down 69,000. So you didn't think there was a crossover audience. There absolutely was. It's just the same bunch of people trying to figure out what to view every Wednesday, which is great. Now you know. Now you know who you're vying for. It is the Monday Night Wars all over again. But they still did wait. 18 to 49 is much better on AEW, but NXT is still improving. So maybe it was just those 2 weeks they took off over Christmas and New Year that hurt them, but now they're balancing back out. I don't think I missed anything else on the Dynamite show that we needed to talk about. Again, Moxley versus Jericho, I think will be an awesome match at Revolution, proper pay-per-view, and maybe smart in many ways, because if you're an old WWE fan, you may get someone going, oh, Ambrose and Jericho going at it again. You'll be like, oh, that's fascinating. And then you'll see this new character of John Moxley, and you may love it with his pirate eye. But it zoomed by for me. I couldn't believe it when they announced John Moxley coming out, or Puck first. I was like, how? How did we get through it that fast? So, yeah, thumbs up. Thumbs up all round for me. Chicken Salad in the Super Chat says, I love when Ray won the Rumble. That was a great one. It's a shame everything that happened after that with his title run. But yeah, that was a proper underdog feel-good story. And I would like it if they did more of that too. But, we'll have to wait. I don't think he's winning it this year. Otherwise, I'm not talking about these stupid stories going around about Rocky Johnson's funeral that I find incredibly offensive and obviously untrue. If you know, you know. If you don't know, don't even worry about it. But before anybody even asks... And that's it. I don't think there's any other news that's gone down, which is kind of fascinating. because usually Royal Rumble week, there's so much craziness. Again, I don't think CM Punk's going to be there. Watch CM Punk on Backstage this week. I like him. I just find him interesting. He always has something interesting to say, whether you agree with it or not. He is engaged, and that's all I massively need. And now, after looking through everything, no, that's wrestling this week. We're just building up to the weekend, and we will see what goes down. Obviously, Ibushi is off if you're doing the American tour, the New Japan American tour. Ibushi's not going because he's got influenza, of all things, which is kind of crazy. Oh, here's a new rumor. Right, I'm going to give you 5 seconds to tune off, just in case you don't want to hear it. It's a rumor about a surprise in the Royal Rumble. It's not a massive one. I kind of count to 5, then we're going to talk about it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. According to PW Insider, Santino Marella is flying to Houston to be part of the Royal Rumble. I will be very, very happy if he's in the Royal Rumble. Although this says if the 45-year-old won't be competing in the Royal Rumble, there's also a chance that he'll be in Texas for a taping of a WWE Network program, since the promotion usually films their content during weekends following a big event. I hope he gets a surprise entry. If we get that, I will pop big. I will pop big. That would be absolutely awesome. This is interesting. So all this stuff is just picked up. ITV has confirmed its 3-year venture into pay-per-view has come to an end. The ITV box office channel, which was available on Sky Channel 493, was officially withdrawn from the service. Now, that's interesting because that airs AEW pay-per-views. So I'm going to assume that if you don't use Fight TV, you absolutely may want to start using Fight TV. That's a shame. I know that there's been some issues with AEW on ITV. I just use Fight Plus or whatever it's called. I just think it works. But yeah, so there you go. Shout out. You may want to kick on that before Revolution comes around. Mecha Sign in the super chat says, your favorite promotional pay-per-view video package? I know the answer to this. Mine is the 2003 SummerSlam video with Sent Anger by Metallica. Also, Ruby Riott is returning at the Royal Rumble. Wow, Vince McMahon is here. You heard it from Vince McMahon first. Ruby Riott. I'm only winding you up, Mecha. I'm winding you up. I saw that one too. Yeah, apparently Ruby Riott and Naomi are going to be making their comebacks at the Rumble. You need to with the women. They've only announced like 2 people. So, yeah, I think anyone you think is going to be in the women's side of the Rumble probably will. My favorite promotional video is 97 SummerSlam with the Life Isn't Fair, but nobody ever said it would be. If you've never seen it, just type it in now. 1997 SummerSlam video. You must be able to find it. It's got this amazing music in the background, which you can download. It's promotional music. I went out of my way to find that. It's great. My second one is after Survivor Series 98 on Raw, when The Rock won the champion. It had that weird music that went duh, 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 duh. And you can find it right now. It's also production music. This is what I did when the internet first blew up. It's called Eggshells. In fact, I'll find it for you right now. I bet you someone's uploaded it. And if you are an Attitude Era person, you will absolutely know what I'm talking about. Oh, that's not right. Oh, gosh. That one couldn't have gone more wrong. What is wrong with me? I'm stressed because today has been so crazy. Eggshells production music. I don't know why I've decided to do this now in hindsight. Is this it? If it's not it, it's going to be embarrassing. I'm going to turn it down because you don't need to hear a stupid advert. I'm 99% sure this is it. It is it. See it. This is just everywhere. And if you remember, I didn't know this is going to work. And it was the one that went, Rock's a millionaire, Rock's the WWF champ. It's fantastic. So yeah, if you're a person of the Attitude Era, you can find all of these on the internet. And that is my second favorite one because it was just so funny. Like, The Rock did what he had to do to get to the top of the world. Oh, man. Gold. That's the kind of wrestling I'm talking about. And then Val Venus was getting his penis chopped off by Kai and Ty, but don't even worry about it. It makes me happy. It makes me happy to think about it. Right, so we've got a few minutes left here. There's nothing else to talk about in terms of wrestling. Please do check out my What Culture stuff when it goes up. I'm really proud of that predictions video. But in the meantime, yeah, just spam a load of questions in the comments, and I will answer as many as I can. If you do a super chat, I will 100% answer it because that's only fair. Otherwise, I'm just going to do a quick plug for my Patreon here because, well, 2 things actually. One, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already because I've got 2,500 to go before I get to 100,000. And I really would like to get to 100,000. I don't know why. It doesn't mean anything. I think it's because a lot of people told me, Simon, your Revel approach to YouTube is not going to work. You need to focus on something. And I was like, well, I don't want to do that. I'll do that in the future if I have to. But for now, I just want to do fun things. And to get to almost 100,000 subscribers. I mean, I don't make much money from YouTube, but I don't care. I like it. But yes, if you could subscribe, that would be great. And if not, yeah, my Patreon is the only reason I can do these. It's true. Like, I hate talking about it, but you got to be honest and transparent. If I don't make money, I can't do my own personal projects. I have to make it somehow, so that's why I set up a Patreon. You can just go in for $1, that helps. At $5, you can join my weekly Q&As, which we're going to do later this afternoon. At $10, you can get a personalized postcard, which I'll send to you. $20, you get obviously all the previous rewards, and I'll send you an actual video talking about whatever you want. If you want a shout out or something, like a cameo thing, whatever it's called. And then there's t-shirts, ones you can come on the podcast. There's different tiers. So yeah, check it out if you can. And my man David Ayres in the super chat says, Edge in the Rumble, yes or no? It's such a hard question, man. Edge in the Rumble, yes or no? I mean, we'll go head versus heart. My heart says yes, my head says no. I'd love to think that Edge was able to return, but then you have to remember what he went through was pretty crazy. You know, the neck injury was properly severe. I'm going to go no. I'm going to go no, but hope that I'm wrong. Again, so many wrestling fans get so upset when they get worked. That's why I like wrestling. Work me. Make me believe one thing and then let something else happen. So, Edge was on an interview the other day saying, no, it's not going to happen. Great. That means you got me. That's your job. Your job is a worker. So I don't have a problem with that at all. Somebody wants to see the Cobra versus the Fiend at WrestleMania. Well, that's a way to end the Fiend's the Fiend's atmosphere and aura. Book that. Although because I'm that kind of wrestling fan, I would absolutely love it. And someone rightfully says that Curtis Axel has still not been eliminated from the Rumble. Is that website still up? There was a website that says whether he'd been eliminated or not. Curtis Axel Rumble. No, I think it's gone. That was way back in 2015. That was the same Roman Reigns one. That was a long ass time ago. Do you think Conor versus Cowboy was fake? No. Too much controversy. Too much risk to reward. That's like going, I'm going to take all this cocaine into America. Just wait till you get home and snort a load of cocaine. It's not worth it. It's absolutely not worth it. Do not do it, ever. And don't do drugs anyway. They're bad for you. Shorty on the Super Chat says, tell What Culture to up your fee. You plug them enough, lol. We got to plug them, man. Got to plug them. They've been very good to me. Very, very good to me. I've been with them now for 4 years, would you believe? It is 4 years this month I've been with What Culture, so I tip my hat to them. They gave me a platform for all of this. So, I certainly owe them from that start. And also, I want you to go watch my videos on What Culture. It's a views-based business, Sean. If people don't watch my videos, then what good I am to anybody? Nothing. Just a moron, a bald moron ranting on the internet. Do you think Shayna Baszler is going to Raw or SmackDown? I think if she gets called up, she is going to Raw, because I think you have to pay off that Becky Lynch thing, or at least that's what I would like to see. But it all depends if Ronda Rousey is coming back. Although Ronda Rousey would go to SmackDown, 100%. She has a proper relationship with Fox, and I think they would be so mad if WWE put her on the USA Network. I've just thought of that now, and I think it's true. Right, on that note, let's wrap it up for the day. It's Friday. Go out there and have good weekends. Enjoy Worlds Collide if you're going to watch it. Again, not even stories, kind of, but not really. Just enjoy it for the crazy matches they should be. I mean, Finn Balor versus Dragunov is going to be crazy. Royal Rumble on Sunday, the best pay-per-view of the year. So no matter what, put a smile on your face. If you did enter Simon Miller's Royal Rumble sweepstakes, I've got all your numbers, your knowledge. Wait until the podcast on Monday and Tuesday. Don't go crazy on Twitter. Come talk to me on here, and we can figure it out. Please do subscribe. I'd appreciate it massively. Patreon.com/Simon316. Instagram and Twitter at Simon316. And on my Instagram right now is me attempting to springboard last night at wrestling training. Probably not the best thing to ever put on the internet. It was literally the first time I ever tried. And it was like, your technique's wrong, Miller. Like, yeah, I know. And then my teacher taught me and I did it. But I was just trying to make it fun for the internet. What a stupid thing to do. Shout out to Pins and Knuckles and pinsandknucklesmerch.com. I have my own merch too, simonmiller.bigcartel.com. New designs coming soon. People wanted more variety, so I'm going to sort that out. That's it. That's all my plugging. That's all my housekeeping. We will be back on Monday, hopefully. But as I'm sure you can appreciate, the fallout from the Royal Rumble is always a crazy day. But hopefully I can find an hour and we'll smash it out. If you're coming down on Sunday to EWE in the Balham in Bedford, South London, I look forward to seeing you there. It's going to flip in Battle Royal. Of course, it is the tie into the Royal Rumble. Plus, I need to get my revenge against Jordan Saeed if you were there last time. Please come down. I guarantee you 100%, not 99, 100%. that you will like an EWE show if you go live. Loud crowd, understand the stories, amazing chants. I mean, it's not like as big as PWG, but it really does have that kind of atmosphere when you're in the ring. Just craziness. I love it. Thank you to those guys. So that's my wrestling match. And that's that. I'm out of here. Enjoy yourselves. Raw Rumble. Where's my offline button? I've lost it. There it is.